All right, another Tuesday
Yep.
live Q&A. Look, you guys, we didn't get a lot of questions, so if you guys have some questions, go ahead and put them in the comment section. We do have a special guest, Dwayne. He's part of our Platinum Coaching program, so we're gonna pick his brain. He's been very, very active um, in his real estate investment journey. But so if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask. I see Jade is already on. Hey, Jade. Um, and Jade, you asked me a question through text, and so I'll answer that question for you here. And so Keith is here. Keith was on a hiatus. He took a sabbatical for a little while. He's back. Came back
Yep.
last night. How was the
Yep.
trip?
It was good, but today's like August the 1st. It's something exciting about this date. Maybe for some of us, it's the beginning of getting ready for the rest of the year and really charging forward with the goals that we have. So I think it's good, for it to be on a Tuesday night where we can get some questions answered and continue moving forward.
Great.
Yep. So, Greg, I do have a couple questions that came in from Fenton, and
Well,
Fenton want.
hey, Keith,
Yeah.
let's introduce Dwayne. He's just sitting there
Oh,
wondering why he's here.
yeah, yeah. So, guys, say hello to Dwayne. Dwayne's been in our coaching program now for a couple of months now, but really has just been charging forward from day one.
So, Dwayne, why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us how you got started investing in real estate?
So good evening, everyone. My name is Dwayne Levy. I'm an agent investor at Bennett Realty Solutions. I'm also a platinum coaching student. I've been a student for about 3 months, and I've had my real estate license for about 2 months. I started investing in 2019. I wanted to invest for many years. I just never pulled the trigger. And so I started my investment journey in Baltimore. And since then, I've acquired a few properties, but nothing major because I kept getting stuck in buying the property and then trying to figure out how do I get my money back out of the property. I'll say in 2021, I purchased 2 properties in cash. One was a single family home in DC, 3-bedroom that I turned into a 5-bedroom, and one was a condo. About 2 months later, I bought in Upper Marlboro. And I had been holding on to them too, just trying to figure out, how do I get my money back? So I joined the program a few months ago. And once I joined the program, my goal really was to close maybe 2 deals by the end of this year. That was my personal goal. But since then, I've just agreed to a deal in DC for a 9-unit apartment building. It's 9 2-bedroom units, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. That's pretty much occupied, all except for 1 unit. And I've also agreed to purchase a house in Upper Marlboro, a 4-bedroom house, 2 baths. And I actually have 2 clients that I'm working with aggressively that I will. One is a buy and the other one is selling their home. But basically, I picked up a lot of my leads by just networking. I'm born and raised here in the area. And so I just have been talking to a lot of people. I do a lot of driving for dollars. I do a lot of that. I look on the MLS, and I'm just been very active, very, very busy.
So Dwayne, walk us through on a 9-unit. How are you financing these? I went over to the property with you a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about some creative financing, and we did a LOI, letter of intent. But tell us how you're going to finance that. I don't think they're going to hold any financing. Tell us how you're going to finance it.
So that one is going to be required for me to put 25% up on the property, and then have a note on the rest. My goal is to make improvements on the property and to let it appreciate. I think that we're getting it undervalued because everything I've been looking at has been going for much more than what I'm paying. I think I'm paying about $105,000 per unit, and that's pretty low. But my goal is just to make some improvements over time and just let the property appreciate. And of course, just continue to raise the rent each year and just to hold on to it so that that property could pretty much be a cash cow for me in the future.
And you have market rate tenants there, right? There's no Section 8 tenants.
There may have been one or two that were Section 8, but most of them were market rate.
So you're going to buy it, and how much did you agree to buy it for?
$950,000.
So you're going to be at $950,000, and you're going to force appreciation through doing some improvements. What are some of the improvements you're going to have to make?
The gentleman told me that I think he's turned over 6 of the units. 6 out of 9 of the units have been renovated. As people leave, then he's been renovating most of them. So it's 3 more units to be renovated. One of them you and I went through is completely vacant. I guess he's just not going to renovate that one at all. The previous owner before him, it was central air in the building, but he just never replaced any of the units. So I believe as I'm able to raise the rents, each unit is going to be separate, of course, but they'll have central air in them, possibly better security, and some just cosmetics. The area right across the street is some very, very nice townhomes, and it's in a pretty decent pocket. It's in Marshall Heights, and so it's in an up-and-coming area of Southeast.
So is it your plan to force the appreciation? Probably, in my opinion, get the value over $2 million, and then refinance.
Definitely.
Maybe pull the money out. But is that your strategy?
Definitely. I want to get it to the point where I can pull some money out, actually all of my money, pull my money out, and then repeat the process.
And so so he's doing what I would consider a high level BRRRR. So he's doing a BRRRR. He's buying a property. He's doing some renovations to it. He's going to rent out the vacant units. And I would probably evict some of the tenants who aren't paying, right, and then get it all rented out, and then refinance that 20 or 25% that you put into it. You get all that money back. So now you have an asset, a 9-unit building, all 2 bedrooms, with none of your own money into the deal, none of your own money, and it's cash flowing. It's going to continue to build equity. And so that's a great deal. Like, that's a really, really, really good deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I was excited about that.
You should have been. And it's just networking. So what I would say to everybody is, you've got to start talking. You got to let everybody know that this is what you do, because you just never know, who knows who. And I think was it your cousin that knew the owner of this property, or a good friend of yours knew the owner?
Yeah, on July 4th, it was late in the evening. My cousin just wanted to see me before he left and went back to Virginia. He was in town for the holiday, and he stopped by and we talked for maybe an hour and a half. And he told me about his friend, very good friend from college, who owned a property, and he just wanted to take his money out and do something else. He wasn't hurt for money, which is kind of why we had to do the deal the way that we did it. But he was not hurt for money. He just wanted to take his money out and do something else. In hindsight, I believe that him and my cousin are getting ready to buy some commercial buildings together. But he just wanted to get out of, being a landlord and do something different. So I asked my cousin to call him right away. So he called him, and since the next day I had been texting him and went to see the property that same week. You and I went to see the property and got his rent rolls, and we got all of his expenses. So we pretty much know where we're going to be, once we acquire the property.
It's just talking to people, taking action, having the fortitude to pull the trigger. And you, over the years, you've put yourself in a position, a financial position, that if an opportunity like this comes up, you can hop on it. And it doesn't seem like you're scared of much. You're not scared, are you?
No, no, I'm definitely not scared. and especially to be honest, it helped me when when you say that you would go with us and that you did go with me, because this is the largest purchase that I've made, and so it made me feel comfortable that
Good.
because I was going off my hunch, and I'm pretty good with my hunches, but that's a lot of money to take a hunch on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so Karen would like to know, are you going to keep those market rate tenants, or are you going to slowly but surely maybe put some Section 8 tenants in there?
Ideally, I would like to put Section 8 tenants in it. I really, to be honest, would like to evict every tenant that he has, possibly, but I would like to put Section 8 tenants so I won't have to worry about rent. I'm definitely going to have a property manager, because I think that one of the mistakes that he made may have been because he was too close and personal at the property. And sometimes you run into problems with tenants if they know you. And
Right.
I don't want, the tenants to know me.
Hey,
That's
Dwayne,
smart.
Dwayne, I have a question. Are any of the two units you are you planning on turning them into, maybe adding bedrooms in them, or is there some that you could add a third bedroom?
I'm not quite sure that I have the square footage to add a bedroom. I think I'm going to leave them right at the two where they are, but just systematically increase the rent every year, but
Yeah.
I do want to add value to the property as well, so that
Sure.
people will want to live there and
Yeah.
make it a nice place,
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no back porches there. Oftentimes in DC, there's a back porch that you might be able to turn into another bedroom. You can enclose that back porch.
Mm-hmm.
From what I saw, these don't have back porches. But
That's
I mean,
cool.
they're already two bedrooms. Normally,
Right.
normally they're all one bedrooms, and you enclose to make them two bedrooms. These are already one 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Yeah, and because every one of them is a 2 bedroom, I'm pretty satisfied. Because everywhere else I look, you may have 6 units, and some of them are 2s and some of them are 1s. So I'm pretty satisfied that all of them are 2s.
Good.
Karen also would like to know why are you evicting the tenants if they? Let me see. Hold on. Why are you evicting the tenants if they are paying rent on time? Just curious. I think that's the point. They're not.
Yeah, we have he has 2 of them in court now. So out of the 8 units that are occupied, 2 of them are behind. So that's 25% of the tenants there. 2 of them have been there for a very, very long time. And in DC, you have rent control. I just would like a Section 8 tenant, so that I just don't have to worry about the collection part.
Right.
That's just preference for that amount of tenants.
Yeah, I would be doing the same thing. Dana just got on. So Dana, this property is on Astor Place, which is, I believe, like right around the corner from your property in Marshall Heights. It looks to me like it's like a block away, but it could be. Yeah, I think it is like 2 or 3 blocks away from yours. And so, it's in Marshall Heights. Yeah. So these tenants are behind. So, man, this is like a dream come true. This is something that you'll have, your daughters will have, your sons, they might have. The boys just mess things up all the time.
I have one son that's very much like me. I think he's going to.
You'll be all right. Don't put the other son's name on this, okay? And the baby girl too. Don't put. She's gonna mess things up too. The baby girl.
Yeah.
So tell us about the Upper Marlboro. Wait, I think Ralph might have a question. He says, "This is wonderful news, Dwayne. Does the DC law make it tough to evict?"
It is, but every state, from my experience, every area is becoming a little more tough to evict. Like I had a situation in Baltimore, and the judge even told me that, every state is becoming just like Baltimore, kind of tough to evict. I'm not necessarily pushing to evict the good tenants right now, but just if the opportunity presents itself, whereas I can start with a clean slate, I would have preferred to take the building vacant. That would have been my preference, but that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not. I mean, you've got to go through a process to evict. You've got to have a good reason to evict. Like every other city, DC is tenant friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can show cause, then you can get them evicted.
Right.
And so I don't think it'll be that difficult. It's just a process that you've got to go through. And one thing I would do is I would probably evict, one tenant at a time.
Right.
Especially if they're not paying, you just got to get them out. But if they are paying one at a time, while you're renovating each unit.
Yeah, I've also learned that in DC that you can ask for a waiver to the rent control if you have made significant improvements to your property. So that's my ultimate goal, is to make the property much nicer.
Yeah, and then it's turnkey. All the units are nice. The money is coming in automatically through Section 8, and if there's any problems, your property manager will take care of them. Now you can focus on building wealth through all many other deals, many other properties.
Yeah.
Tamika would like to know, would you be managing the eviction process yourself or hire an attorney?
I definitely won't do it myself. Probably won't hire an attorney. There are companies that'll do it for you. In the past, I've used a company, I can't remember the name. It's called Evict. So I don't know what it's called, but they did a good job for me. And the one time that I tried to do it myself was in Baltimore, and we gave the tenant, I think, a 30-day notice to vacate instead of a 60-day or something like that, and or 60-day instead of a 90, and we just got rejected. So I won't do that again. I won't do it myself at all.
Okay. All right. If you guys have any other questions as it relates to multifamily, let us know. Dwayne, talk about the other property, the one in Upper Marlboro.
So the Upper Marlboro one, I was talking to, it's actually my customer and my wife's godparents, and just talking to him about, I was looking for a house for someone. And he said, well, we're trying to get rid of the one in Upper Marlboro. And so I spoke to them and looked at the property. She actually showed me exactly what they owe on the property and how much the taxes are and things like that. It's a property that pretty much was being under rented for a very long time. They bought the house in 1983 for $75,000, and they've been renting it out since 1996. And so their current mortgage is like $1,427, and they're only charging $1,450 rent for a 4-bedroom house in Upper Marlboro. And so obviously they weren't making any money, so they didn't make many improvements to the house over the years. But fortunate enough for me that through their insurance, they had a brand new roof put on it in the last 6 months and a brand new HVAC unit. So that was good.
Great. Yeah, great.
I actually went into the house today, guys. Since I left the office, I went into the house today at 2:00, and the inside wasn't bad. I thought it was more outdated than what it is, but they've made a few improvements, just not very nice to me,
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't need actually what I thought it needed. It really doesn't. It's pretty decent.
And give us the numbers on this one and what the strategy is.
Well, I kind of offered a little too much, only because I wanted to be very fair on this one. If I didn't know them, I wouldn't have come close to this price. But the property the ARV is about 400 to 405. I offered 280, and I thought I would have to put about 40 in it, but I won't. Depending on how far I want to go, and I'm not going to go very far, I don't even think I'll put $20,000 in this house. I don't, because I'm not going to. It's going to be a rental, and it's decent. It's someone living there now. It's decent, so I'll make some upgrades, but I won't put a bunch of money into it. Bunch of cosmetics.
How are you going to finance this?
Uncertain on that right now. You and I spoke about the subject to So we may do that. Still debating on that part.
So have you given them a proposal yet or talked to them about it?
I haven't. I just we agreed on the price, but I was going to possibly change that price depending on what I saw today because I had to get into the house, which was my urgency, and so they let me in today, and so it's really not bad.
So you're at you offered them 280, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay. So at 280, I think, we talked about that price being a little too high.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I commonly do is I kind of call this the negotiation after the negotiation. So you've already told them 280. I call them up and say, I took a look at the house and I know I offered you 280, but because of this and that and this and that, I've got to go down to 250.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that maybe we'll compromise at 260 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, you really need to get them down some.
Right.
So I would negotiate again and get them down a little more. And now, since you're buying and holding this property, you can make up, for, the numbers really not working through over time through appreciation.
Right.
And so what I would try to do is, depending on whether they're behind in the mortgage or not, depending on, or you already know, what the ARV is. I think I would try to do a subject to.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got to do the numbers to see. So if you were to buy, let's just do it really quickly. Let's just say you say it's worth about 405.
Yes.
So at 405 times, let me see, at 405. So traditionally 405 times 70% minus, you said you'd put 20 into it?
Yeah, 20. That's about it.
All right, that puts us at like 263, which is not bad. It's not bad, and that's not counting any soft costs. But yeah, if you could get them down to about 260, so at 260, how much do they own a mortgage? Do you know?
She showed me she showed me a statement from like a few months ago that they owe like 236.
Oh, so the numbers are tight.
So that was about 4 or 5 months ago with the statement. But she called the bank with me on the phone. She just never asked what the balance was.
You said 236?
Yeah, 237, I think it was, maybe in March.
Okay. So we'll call it 236 now. Or there's probably a little less than that. So if you offer them, let's just work with 260 minus the payoff, 236. Give us 24 minus their closing costs, which will be about 2% of 260. So we're at 2% of 260 is what?
5,200.
5,200. So you're at about 20,000. And so here's what I would do. I would see if they would be willing to do a subject to. If so, and then you explain to them what a subject to is. I'd like to take over the mortgage, and I'll pay the mortgage, let's just say for 2 years. And for agreeing to do that, I'll give you $10,000 when you sign the agreement. And then when I refinance in a year or two, I'll give you another $10,000. Yeah, that's what I would do, and I would do a full settlement. I would do a settlement, and put a lien on the property. You can use the contract as a lien, as an instrument to put a lien on the property, and so that they can't sell the house up from under you for no reason. And I probably would restrict it to a year because too many things can happen. And so I would, do some improvements and then rent it out for market value, and then refinance and pay off the house. But try to bring it up to a value. You're going to have to bring it up to a value of about, let me do some quick math. You can bring it up to a value of, let's try 375 times 70%. Yeah, I was right on. All right, so you're going to have to bring it up to a value of about 375. Even though ARV right now is 400, we want it to appraise for at least 375, because at 375, that will give you enough money to pay off the mortgage.
Okay.
Or mortgage balance. Because 375 times the 70% is 262. So that's enough to pay off her mortgage.
That makes sense.
That's more than enough, because she's at 236, right? Yeah. So with those numbers, and it could be a little lower, but at those numbers, not only can you pay off her mortgage, you could put a couple dollars in your pocket.
Back in my pocket, yeah. I could pretty much almost break even. Probably will break even, and I won't have much money into the house.
Right. Yeah, especially when you take into consideration the positive cash flow that you'll be getting every month.
Yeah, I believe with her current mortgage, I can with her mortgage, I can bring in about almost $2,000 a month off of that property. With just some cosmetic upgrades.
So I would broach that topic tomorrow if I was you. You want to call and just say, hey, I want to talk about the financing. Took a look at the property, and my numbers are really, really tight. So here's what I would like to do. I would like to just take over your mortgage, because if I buy it traditionally, I won't be able to buy it. The numbers are too tight. And so I would like to take over your mortgage for a year, pay you $10,000 now, and then I'll refinance and pay you another $10,000. And then I would probably try to show them, and if you want, if it's in my schedule, I can come with you. I would tell her that if you sell it the way it is now, you're probably just going to break even. You're not going to make any money.
Right.
And so I'm willing to pay you $20,000, 10 now, 10 a year from now. But the good news is that you don't have to worry about the mortgage payments anymore. I'm going to take care of them.
Yeah, that's a big headache for them. They just don't want the headache anymore. And to be honest, she wasn't really looking to get much money out of the deal. So I'll definitely call her tomorrow and try to renegotiate some of this, But I think they'll be willing to do it.
Is that the property, Dwayne, that you would consider giving to a family member, or are you going to put a Section 8 renter in the property?
I'm going to do Section 8 with that one.
So you're probably going to earn even, it's a 4-bedroom, you said?
Yeah. While we do the subject 2, I'm going to have to do market rent, because with Section 8 in Prince George's County, they ask you about who's the owner.
That's right. Right.
So I'm going to have to do market rent until we get it into my name, out of her name.
Right.
But even still, it's in Upper Marlboro. It's a very nice area. I used to live there. Actually, I grew up in that neighborhood. And so that's one of the neighborhoods that I drive for dollars. It's 1,100 homes in one neighborhood. And
yeah, I think Dana grew up in that neighborhood too.
It's a good mix though, because it's a lot of the original homeowners there who haven't, done many upgrades to their property, so you can get a good deal. Actually, I owned a house there that I lived in, and I bought it in 2015, and 5 people. It went for sale on a Friday. on Monday they had 5 bids and mine was the lowest, and they sold it to me anyway. So it's a good neighborhood. It appreciates pretty good. You know?
Outstanding.
We got a couple of questions. Dana actually asked a good question. He said, would you consider room rentals? And so he's a big advocate on like veteran programs and battered women's programs and things like that, where you probably could rent those rooms out. I think he's getting about $950 a room. Upper Marlboro is probably the same or more. Actually, you could probably get maybe $1,000 for, and so that would be $4,000. And then, so is that something that you would consider?
So it's funny that you would ask me that, because I lost Dana's number, and I have a property in Fort DuPont right now that is going to be vacant at the end of the month. And to be honest, Section 8 won't give me a lot of money for that property because of the zip code. It's a 5-bedroom house, and actually I will get less there than I get in Upper Marlboro for the 4-bedroom. Section 8 in the house in DC is 2809. I can get 34 for 4 bedrooms in Upper Marlboro because of the zip codes. So I definitely would be interested in it. And I'm definitely waiting to get Lisa Williams' number from Dana so that I can get get those veterans in my house in DC. But yeah, I would be interested in it for sure.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, you guys, if you have any questions for Dwayne, don't hesitate. Did we answer all the questions? Oh, so Ralph is asking, if you're not able to do a subject to, what would you do? If she doesn't agree to subject to, would you buy it traditionally, or maybe offer a little more money up front? Like, what would you do?
My second thought will probably just be, I don't know, I could offer more money up front or traditional. Either one would be an option.
Okay.
Either one. You know, I definitely want to keep myself in a strong position, to purchase the 9-unit building. So, of course, the more cash that I have, the better for me. But I'm open to either one, as long as it makes sense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they just don't want the headache anymore, which is the best kind of purchase to make, you know. They just don't want to deal with, trying to rent it out. Again, I don't know if anyone renting out a 4-bedroom house in Upper Marlboro for $1,400.
Right.
So that tells you that they weren't trying to make any money, really. They just, I don't know. I guess they just took their eyes off of it. But they did borrow money from it, so that's why they owe $200 and something for it now.
Okay.
Sometimes people's priorities just change.
Yeah, they to be honest, they live in like over $1 million house, and she told me that they used, when they bought the house back in like 2005, they pulled out a bunch of money so that they can buy, of course, their home that they live in now, big 10,000 square foot home. So I guess they just kind of just let the other house pay for itself and just not worry about it, you know. But it's becoming a headache for them now.
Hey, Dana wants to know where you're getting all your money from. He's trying to get into your personal business.
I own a landscaping company.
You didn't have to answer that.
And I just, to be honest, I used to sell cars. I do a lot. You know, I'll buy anything for $1 and sell it for $2. Anything. I don't care what it is.
All right, Karen had a question. She said, I thought Mayo, it would be half of the after repair value. And so that's traditional, Karen. That's taking the ARV, the after repair value, times the repair cost, minus the repair cost. And the repair cost being around 20% of the ARV. In this case, and so in this case, that 20% would be $80,000. because the ARV is 400,000 and 20% is $80,000. But what makes this one different is Dana actually took a look at. Dwayne actually took a look at the property, and he says he only needs to put in 20,000. And so if you do the math that way by using 20,000, it's not going to be half. He's going to be able to buy the house for a little higher than what we would normally buy the house for.
Greg, would you say, I talked to another, it's one of my customers, that I do landscaping for. So I do a lot of jobs for people that flip homes and stuff like that. So I did a job last week by the harbor, and I asked the guy, I said, what are you getting right now? And he's been doing it since like 91. But nonetheless, would you say that in today's market, it's a little tougher to be at the 70% all in mark?
I would say yes. As a wholesaler, we want to stay there, but there are cash buyers that are buying at say 75, sometimes even 80. It depends on the motivation of the seller, how well you're able to negotiate. So it's all of those factors are involved in getting it at the 70%.
Yeah,
I would say that there's not as many opportunities. And so because of that, sometimes we're buying at 75% as a wholesaler trying to, find someone that's willing to buy that. But as a cash buyer, if you're holding, it's a different ballgame. The mindset is I can make that 5% up or even 10% up. I can make that 10% up maybe in a year through appreciation.
Right.
Flipping is sort of the same mindset. You just need inventory to flip.
Right.
And so, yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the other question that Ralph has is, and I think you answered it because you have your own business, is with financing, he says, with so many properties, how is it possible to continue to obtain the financing?
You pull your money out. You have to pull your money out. And, these properties won't be in my personal name, but you pull your money out. But definitely they won't be in my name. We're going to write the Astor Place is going to be Astor Place LLC, but they'll definitely won't be in my name. So it won't affect my debt to income ratio. And once you, you rehab or you improve the property, then you pull your money out and you just do it again with the same money.
Yeah.
And I was tempted initially to, because it wasn't a lot of room that I wanted it to be, I was tempted to even flip the Upper Marlboro one, but I really don't want to, I'd rather get the income because it's a pretty good spread on it. I'd rather get the income each month.
Good. That's good. I'm going to be, so the next Lunch and Learn is about that. When should you flip? When should you hold? Should you be a wholesaler? Should you be a buy and hold? And so that's what the next Lunch and Learn is all about. So that's good. What rates are you getting for your loans? Do you know what rates you're getting yet?
No, I think it's it's in the 7s right now.
Okay. And so that's the other thing. I mean, the interest rates are a little higher. You purchased a property, the numbers aren't as favorable, but by the time you renovate those units, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a year, probably minimal. By the time it's time for you to refinance, interest rates would have gone back down. So not only are you forcing appreciation, hopefully up to about $2 million, you're going to get a much, much better interest rate as well.
Yeah. Yeah. When after a little time goes by and the rates, go down, I should be able to pull all of my money out and probably have a little extra.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Good job, Dwayne.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great job. Great
Very
job.
inspiring.
Thank you.
And all it is, you know, Dwayne is just doing everything you're supposed to do. Like he's really, really taking action. He's talking to people. He's prepared himself financially. And so he's just doing a great job. So you should
Dwayne,
be
if I can ask, what is the driver for you? What's your main motivation, or do you have several motivations? Because it seems like you kind of even doubled your efforts a little bit, even from the time you signed up. And so, what are your plans as we get close to the closeout time of this year, calendar year?
Well, I definitely want to close all 4 of the deals that I have in front of me. Purchasing a house for my daughter. They're going to buy a house. A friend of mine, I helped him buy a house at an auction last week. So now he's going to let me sell his house, a very nice townhome in Upper Marlboro. So I'll list that one on September, sometime in the beginning of September, and then close my 2 deals out, the 9-unit and the 1 house in Upper Marlboro. But my motivation is pretty much that I want to work, not as much physical work, moving forward in my life. I worked very, very hard, probably since I was about 26. I started my company at 29, but I worked very, very hard and very, very physical. And so I enjoy my work, but I don't want to work that physical anymore. So
Good
I want to
stuff.
do less.
So Dana has a similar goal. So that's good. All right, Keith, what you got some questions to close this out?
Couple questions, Greg. Couple questions. So Fenton wants to know, Greg, and maybe this is a question for you too, Dwayne. How do you guys vet old or new contractors to work on your properties?
That means, that's a good question. I was talking to somebody today, and we were talking about contractors, licensed contractors, and I told him that piece of paper, that license that contractor has, isn't worth anything. It's just all it really means is that contractor was able to pass a test. I want to see past performance. I want to see some properties that they've done before. I'd like to hear from their referrals, their references, and so that's how I vet. I hired a guy many years ago. I bought a property in Bowie, and one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my investment career. Had this property in Bowie, got 3 offers from contractors. I picked the lowest one, and the guy was licensed but didn't know what he was doing. And I ended up, I know I've told this story before, ended up having to fire him and hired the guy that was the most expensive. And so one day I came by the property, he had like 2x4s as the floor joists. He had, it was just where he should have had what's called an LBL going across the ceiling. He had like 2x6s, but they were, it has to be continuous, one continuous piece. He had like a couple 2x6s holding up the floor, and we couldn't pass an inspection. It was just horrible. And so you want to see their work, you want to get references. Doesn't matter whether they're old or young. It's just you've got to do some research on that contractor. What do you think, Dwayne?
For me personally, I stick to my faithful few. And when I have a project coming, like I talked to my guy yesterday, and I told him I got a lot of work for you. And he's actually working for a friend of mine right now, who's turning around 2 properties that he's buying and holding. But I stick to the faithful few. One of them is the gentleman that works for another guy that, he flips homes, and he's been doing it since 1991. But I just stick to the same people. I don't switch up too much.
Okay.
I'm always pleased.
And Greg, another question that Fenton had has to do with financing. Are there any new creative ways to get financing based on the current the current market that we're in?
You know, I taught a class, Lunch and Learn, this past Friday, and I went over most of the creative financing strategies. And so I would, like we've talked tonight about subject two, that's creative, owner financing, partnering. I was talking to one of my colleagues right before this meeting, and we were talking about collaborating and partnering on deals. And so you can do that. You can use a hard money lender alongside of a private lender to put up no money in the deal. And so there's creative ways. Lease options would be good in this market, to do a lease option. I much rather do a subject to than a lease option, because I want to put a lien on the property. And on a subject to, lease option, you really don't. And anything could happen. You can get judgments on the property. They could sell it up from under you. I've seen all those things happen. So there are creative financing strategies that you can use. I would advise Benton. We recorded. It's on my YouTube channel, and I think it should be still on my Facebook, and maybe even on my Instagram. He can go back to Friday's Lunch and Learn. I think it was only an hour, and just listen to that. But he should be able to catch it on my YouTube. All right. Any other questions? I think keep screaming.
No, just a question, Greg, regarding boot camps.
Okay. So we have a schedule. We've been scheduling the boot camps, but to be honest, we haven't gotten the participation. And so we're going to push it back one more time and just see what the participation is like. But it should be good. We're picking up more and more people. We're probably going to do it after Labor Day. Lots of people are on vacation and things like that. It happens to us every year. And so we'll do an all-day boot camp probably later on in September.
Okay.
Ralph is asking, is there still a BRS event this Saturday? I'm not sure what that event is. Are you familiar with that event, Keith? A BRS event on Saturday?
No.
So give us a
Maybe.
call, Ralph, or I'll call you and see what you're referring to. I don't know if you're referring to a boot camp. I'm not sure what you're referring to. But
Might be a home tour, because we are going to have a home tour, I'm sure, within the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3
he said
weeks.
boot camp. So yeah, no. So we're not having that boot camp. Jade wants to know when is the next home tour? Let's have it. Let's have it. Maybe not this Saturday, but the following Saturday.
The 12th. Yeah, that would be the August 12th.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it there. You guys want to stay in PG County, DC, or go back up to Baltimore? What do you guys want to do? Somebody weigh in chat. Baltimore, PG County, DC. I personally like staying local, but I'm open to going to Baltimore.
Yeah, it's been a few months since we've been up there.
What do you think? What do you think, Dwayne?
I think PG County is good.
You like PG County?
Yeah.
Can we look at that property in Marlboro Meadows and steal it from you?
Nah, you can't steal it. You can look. You always can look.
Nah, I'm just messing with you. All right, I think that's all we have. These guys saying, oh, Tamika wants to go to Baltimore. Okay. We'll see, Tamika. You might be outvoted, but we'll see. I'm open to going though. again, Dwayne, just keep it up. Like keep it up. I would say stay hungry, like you are. Take your time. I've seen a lot of investors, including myself, kind of get old, get too excited and buy too much, too fast, too soon.
Right.
And things just start to fall apart. So we don't want to do that. So
Right.
I would say take your time, but just keep going. Like you're doing a great job. Just keep taking action. And you're going to look up one day and it's like, wow, I really did this. Like, I'm proud of my own self. I really did this.
Yeah.
And you feel really, really accomplished.
Thank you.
And just stay humble like you are.
Right.
All right, Keith, that's all I have.
Okay. I think it was a good meeting to start out the month. And like I said, just continue on and get ready to blow past Labor Day weekend and finish the year strong.
Okay. All right, you guys. If you need me, if you need Keith, just let you guys know how to get in touch with us. All right, you guys. Take care. God bless, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Good night.
All right.
All right. Good night.